Hello, my name is Linda McAnany and welcome to my show. One of the more important things I think we can do as we grow a little older, more mature, is to be a good example for our young people. Not only being a good example, but also helping them through their youth and learning some lessons perhaps that we can help them with of things that we've done in the past that may not have been exactly the right thing to do, and help them learn things that are the right thing to do. I think that's called mentoring. And my guests today are two individuals who've spent a lot of time being good mentors to some of our young people in our community. Lee Knernschield is the executive director of Big Brothers Big Sisters. I should say Missouri Valley, but basically Big Brothers Big Sisters. And Heather Feeler is not only a board member, but she's also a big sister. And Lee, you're a big sister.
I am.
So we're very fortunate to have you. Thank you guys for taking the time and joining me today. You know, Lee, whenever we start out a program, I always say, let's talk about the agency to the audience. I can't believe that people in our community may not have know about Big Brothers Big Sisters, but tell us about it.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is a one-to-one mentoring agency, and our goal is to serve children who are in single-parent homes and have very limited or no contact with their mother or father living outside of the home. So we might be serving children who are in a divorce setting. We are serving a number of children who have lost a parent due to death. Each year we serve about 35 kids who have a mom or dad that's incarcerated. So our job is to find them a positive friend or role model to spend time together every single week.
And they can do that two or three different ways, can they not?
They can. We offer two programs. One is what I think the traditional Big Brothers Big Sisters program that most people think of. That's where a volunteer or a big spends time with that child out in the community, and they just do a variety of things. They may, go to the movies. They may go to a school function together. They might just go out and walk in the park and talk. And that is a very, very important program that we offer. The other provides an alternative for those that maybe can't make that much of a commitment, and it is school-based mentoring. And volunteers are placed with children in one of the local elementary, middle, or high schools.
And so they spend their time with the child or the young person in the school setting then?
They do. They spend 1 hour a week during the school year, and they either spend time with them, pulling them out of class, maybe working on some schoolwork, playing a game, eating lunch together, going to recess together. At the high school, most of those volunteers just spend time talking with their little, and that's actually what I'm on my 10th year with my little in the school-based program.
10 years. I remember when you were just starting with that little.
That's right.
That's amazing.
She was in 2nd grade then, and now she will be graduating this May.
That's hard to believe. Tell us a little bit about your little.
Sure, I do the school-based program, and so we've been matched the last 2 years, and we're actually moving to the community-based program, which is wonderful. So we'll get to spend even more time together, which I'm excited about. But she's just wonderful. She's in middle school now, doing great, getting great grades, and we just spend time really talking about what's going on in her life and school, home, friends, different things, and just really a listener and there for her to be a part of her life.
That's great. That's wonderful, and 10 years from now or whatever, you will still be friends, I'm sure.
I hope so.
What is the referral process? Is there a referral process for the littles?
There is. Most of our referrals either come through a parent who realizes that there's a need that maybe they can't fulfill for their child, or the school counselors will recommend a child that they see that just needs some extra sense of support in their life. We do receive a lot of referrals from mental health agencies as well as the Division of Family Services. But someone needs to make that initial contact with our agency to let us know that that child really is in need of a mentor.
Is there any qualifiers that they must fulfill? Or
the only qualification really is that they need to be in that single parent home and have limited or no involvement from that parent that's residing outside of the home. Outside of that, there really is not. We want to provide all children with that sense of support. And unfortunately for those kids that are being raised in that type of environment, they need a little extra guidance and support along the way. So we want to serve all of those children who have those needs.
Now, what about qualifications for a big?
We have an age requirement for a big. All of our bigs have to be at least 16 years of age. There is no upper limit. You're never too old to mentor. We do screen all of our volunteers thoroughly, so we take them through a criminal background screening, a driver's license screening. If they're transporting children, we gather references on them. We also interview them. There really is not any certain qualification we're looking for, just the willingness to spend time with the child and be that friend, like Heather had mentioned, just to be that constant sense of support for that child.
Heather, I'm going to ask this question just based upon the fact that you've been doing this for a shorter period of time. But did you have any expectations going in to being a big, and how has that worked out?
Well, for me, it's kind of twofold. I've been mentoring for 13 years, but only 2 matched with the
I
current
see.
little.
Okay.
Yes, but for me, I grew up in a single-parent household, so it's very personal to me. My mom worked a lot of jobs, went to school, and so I know what it's like to need a little extra help and attention and someone to listen to you. And luckily, I had great influences in my life that believed in me and my dreams. And so when I grew up, I wanted to give back, and so mentoring was kind of a natural fit for me to want to be part of somebody else's life and be that inspiration and be that person to show up and be that listening ear to them, and it's been wonderful.
What a wonderful testimony. I had no idea. I think we've known each other for quite a long time, and I had no idea that you basically were in the same kind of environment that your little is now. So
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. How do you match them? How do you put together a big and a little?
We take both the volunteer and child through an extensive screening or interview process. So when we meet with a volunteer, we try to find out what they're interested in, what type of child they feel that they'd be best suited for, whether it's a very young child, a middle school age child, what they like to do, in their spare time. We do the same thing for the little as well. And so we talk to that little about what they would like to do with their big, what they do for fun, what age mentor do they want. And once we've looked at all of that information, then we make an assessment on who we feel is the right fit for one another. We allow, though, both that volunteer to say yes or no, this is the child I want to be matched with, and allow that child and parent to make that decision also.
So they get together, they spend a little time together, and then the decision is made mutually.
We have done it that way. We also will just call that volunteer, call that parent, talk with that child and say, here's kind of what we're thinking of. This is the person we have in mind for you. And then if they're both agreeable, then we bring them together and they meet. And then once they are matched, our agency supervises all matches. So if there's any, if that big or that little feels like it's not the right fit, we can intervene very quickly.
And you have a staff person who spends all their time doing that, do
We
you
actually
not?
have one that is dedicated solely to the school-based program, and then one who works the community-based program.
So you have a couple.
Right.
You mentioned that you have 35 young people currently. Is that what you said?
We have, our waiting list is about 60 kids, but we started a recruitment campaign just about a month and a half ago, and we have received 17 inquiries from that.
Good.
So we're working down that list. So actively on our list is probably about 60 kids. Many of these will be matched with our new inquiries that we've just received, but we always have children that are waiting.
Wow, you have a waiting list of 60 plus?
Right.
Now, is this both school and?
It is.
Okay, wow. I started out talking about the importance of mentoring, but you're the pros. You see it. How important do you think being a mentor or having a mentor is to both parties?
Do you want to speak to that first, Heather, and then I'm
well, I
definitely
can
join in.
give a real-life example of when I mentored the same little girl for 6 years in Kansas City. She struggled with schoolwork, didn't really think she was smart or, going to go to college. And so, we worked a lot on just building that self-esteem and, talking about her dreams. And so this past August, she started at William Woods. And so we've had dinner together and really been able to reconnect. And so just to see her pursuing her dream that, several years ago she wasn't even confident enough to know, that she was going to do that. And so that's just wonderful to see her starting on her dream. And even though she's had a lot of influences along the way, including her mom, it was nice to be a part of that. And so I feel blessed just, having been along for the journey.
Sure. Now, how much time was there between the time that you were, your mentoring ceased and the time you saw her past?
Probably 6 years. So I would send her
wow.
letters and
Yeah.
communicate and things like that, and Facebook and different things. But in terms of us actually getting together face to face, and so we just did that a couple weeks ago, and it was a sweet reunion. It was wonderful.
I imagine.
Yeah, I got teary just talking to her and seeing her, and just how excited she was about this new program at William Woods that she's involved in. And so just to see her flourishing is, wonderful.
Well, that's great because she's not that far away. So it does give you a chance to continue, at least periodically, seeing each other.
Yes, and I get to be her family here a little bit, that if she needs something, I can be that resource for her. Yeah.
Lee, what do you think?
The same thing. Erica, my little sister, has had many struggles in her life. Very loving mother, but really struggles with parenting her and her younger sisters. And last year, I think, was really a turning point for us. There was a very significant chance that she was not going to get through that junior year at school, was really having some attendance issues. But given that we had been together so long, I think I felt very comfortable having a really frank discussion with her to encourage her to get to school, to do whatever it took to pass the junior year, so now she can go on and graduate, because she will actually be the first person in her family to ever graduate from high school.
That's outstanding.
And I know that without mentoring, without someone there to keep encouraging her and sharing that, I believe in her, that she can do this, she will be able to graduate. And so, fortunately, I'm able to see it in many match stories that are very similar. Without that mentoring influence, that child, might not make the right, I don't want to say the right decision, but may choose to make another decision that will affect their future. Right. But with the mentor there, they can help guide them in a more positive path.
What gratification has it given you as well?
To see someone or to be with someone that long, we started out when she was in 2nd grade. So I've been able to kind of be an outsider watching her grow and develop, and knowing that just by giving my time, 1 hour a week during the school year, has impacted her future indefinitely. It's a very powerful feeling. Our mentors all say that. They come into mentoring to change a child's life, but what they find out is that they are affected in ways they never even imagined by this experience. And I think bringing two people together who have no connection, just a desire to help one another, is extremely powerful and gratifying.
Absolutely. I've heard you say before the impact that Erica has had on your life. And you have 2 boys.
3.
3 boys, I'm sorry. You have 3 boys. So,
right.
I mean, you are seeing as a mother, but also as a mentor, raising children. That's
right.
Wonderful. It's great.
And it's also been very unique. I mean, I do see her just at school, but I've had opportunities to bring my children to a school event where they have met her, and so they know her as well, or the activities that we provide for our bigs and littles to get together, they know her, and there's just a great connection between Erica and my children. So it is just really, it's just a really amazing experience, I think, to become a mentor.
That's great. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to continue the discussion, but we're also going to learn some of the financial challenges and some of the challenges that a wonderful agency like this has. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome home, man.
G-morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did. Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. My guest today is Lee Knernschield, who is the Executive Director of Missouri Valley Big Brothers Big Sisters, and also Heather Feeler, who is one of their board members as well as a big sister. And also, Heather, you are with St. Mary's Hospital, and so you've got a full-time job in addition to all of your volunteer things.
I do, absolutely.
Well,
yes.
And I know with the hospital, as it's soon to open now, a little over a year from now, you're keeping busy.
We are keeping busy, so exciting to have a new hospital project on the horizon and just seeing it coming up. So lots of wonderful things happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for all of your friends and fellow workers at St. Mary's. By the way, before I forget, it's very important that if you have any questions with regards to Big Brothers Big Sisters, or if you're interested in being a mentor or any of that, you can pick up the phone and call 634-3290, or you can visit www.mvbbbs.org, and that's what's on your screen right now. And we'll probably repeat it again, or at least it will be shown again before the end of the program. So it's a good opportunity to learn more. You know, in order for this to happen, as you mentioned, you have a small staff, but you have a staff. It takes finances to do this. How is Big Brothers Big Sisters funded?
We receive nearly half of our operating budget, or overall administrative budget, through United Way. So we're very fortunate that we are a United Way agency, and they do help us generate half of our income. But we do all kinds of outside fundraisings. We do a bowling event every year, a golf tournament. We've got an event coming up down at Joe Mockin's here on October 16th. Variety of ways. Special event fundraising is the majority of where we receive additional funding. We do receive a very small grant through the state of Missouri, and that is to support matches with children who have an incarcerated parent. Additionally, we are located at the YMCA, and we're a sponsor program of the YMCA. And they actually provide us free office space. They provide us all the administrative support we need. So we're able to operate our program on a very limited budget. And so we could not really do that without United Way and the YMCA support.
And I think it's important to talk about the YMCA because that's a good collaboration of two agencies.
Right.
The YMCA is they have a program that is funded through the United Way, and as well as yours. So it's a wonderful collaboration, saving some funds, so to speak.
It really does. And they also actually, which is kind of a hidden secret, I guess, to community-based matches, but they do provide a Y membership to all of our bigs and little to use together at the Y. So automatically that gives that match something to do.
Absolutely. And speaking of something to do, how do you spend time together with your little?
Oh, we do lots of things. So I always find that, like we're having a conversation now, sometimes you don't get a lot of information that way, but the minute you sit down to a board game, the minute you start playing 2-square, 4-square, I've had so many conversations on the playground, swinging, just doing, being in action, that we're able to, do some of those things and then really talk about what's going on, in her life. So it's one of those things, I think, activities that you would, do whether around town or in the school-based program, just an opportunity to, talk about things.
Well, and Lee, you've talked about the activities that your family has shared. You mentioned your boys have shared. Those are just natural opportunities not only to get to know each other, but also to spend quality time with the people you love.
Yeah, and our agency also, most of the community-based activities happen one-on-one with that big and little. We do provide bi-monthly activities that we host. So in October, we'll be doing a hayride. That's always really well attended. We take them ice skating in December. We do a picnic in the summer. So we'll do a variety of things where we can bring all of our bigs and littles together and their families as well. And so I think that helps, build some camaraderie as well.
And a good example, they had a bowling kind of ping pong thing for Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and so we went and we had a little competitive game of ping pong table, and I happened to kind of lean across the table and tipped part of it over, and so my little likes to joke that I'm a really competitive ping pong player, but it was a really good time and a chance to connect with other bigs and really just have fun together.
We've got to get her on the golf course, don't you
Right,
think?
I know.
With a club in her hand,
Yeah.
I can even imagine what it would be.
Oh.
How have you seen your relationship change? First of all with your little and then with yours as well.
You know, I think the relationship changes is that the Big Brothers Big Sisters staff does such a great job of introducing that match and bringing you together. And you know, at first when you kind of get together, the conversation's just about regular stuff, how's school going, things you're working on. But then over the weeks and months, it really develops into a really meaningful conversation of things that they want to share that's on their heart, them getting to know you as well, and that trust factor. And so everybody always asks me, the big question when I talk about being a big is, well, what do you have to do to be a big? And the big thing for me is that you have to show up when you say you're going to show up, and you just have to be a good listener. So you know, when I listen to something happening in your life, the next week when we meet, I follow up on that because I care and I want to know how that turned out, whether that's a big test or an issue she's having with a friend. And so I think you don't have to have a rocket science degree. You just simply have to be present in the moment. And anybody can do that. I truly believe that.
That's a wonderful point you made, and that's about showing up, being there.
Yes.
I would think that would be extremely important many times with young people who may not have experienced that
Sure.
from in the past with family, friends, or whatever. Lee?
Right. You know, when I think back when Eric and I met, it was that conversation, how's your week? What schoolwork do you have? How's it going in school? But now it's really interesting. We have a real friendship. So when I see her now, I mean, she greets me with a hug. I do the same with her. There's a lot of kidding and joking that goes on. You know, she gives me grief about my kids and how they're doing in school. So it has become this, like you would imagine, two friends hanging out together. The conversation is completely comfortable. Like Heather mentioned, listening is a real key piece of that, and being there every single week. You know, I don't miss a week with her, and I think that consistency really helps to build that trust, because unfortunately a lot of these kids have had promises made that are not followed through on. So that helps to develop that trust and that openness between your little and yourself.
Did you ever have frank discussions about grades?
I don't. We have many
I don't know
times.
why that popped into my mind, but
Yes.
you know, that would be something that I think, as you mentioned, the experience that you had
Right.
In her junior year.
I mean, we've even had, you know, she's always struggled academically. Last year, I guess, was the year that I had the biggest concern. And so once I found out what the grades were, I mean, we scheduled an appointment with the counselor to talk about what the implications for this. If you don't graduate from your junior year in high school, what this means for you. And fortunately, the school district was very supportive, helped develop a plan for her so she could do the cram courses and was able to move on. So she knows what my expectations are for grades, and I kind of share that with her, as well as this is what same expectations I have for my own children. This is what I want for you.
Consistency, how important that is.
And in my case, she is a perfectionist, so she's aiming for 100% on all things. And so sometimes our conversation is not about the A, sometimes our conversation is about, you know, how we can step back a little bit when we're disappointed in, you know, how we did, or, you know, things not happening like we expect. And so those are conversations that are always, you know, good to have. So she does really well in the academic setting, and just, you know, has a lot of self-motivation, as well as a guardian that really, you know, talks with her about those things too. So
sometimes it helps a young person just to learn how to take a deep breath.
yeah, absolutely.
And how important that is. You mentioned some events, but I know you have annual events, and I'd like to talk about, I can remember one, and that's your bowling, your
Bowl
bowling
for kids'
event,
sake.
Bowl for Kids' Sake. And that's traditionally held in the spring?
It is actually anywhere between February and May, depending upon when we can get the bowling alley available for that Sunday, because they're kind enough to give that to us free of charge. So we work around their schedule.
And that is out at
Westgate Lanes.
Westgate, okay.
A new event that we just started, this will be our third year, is an adult big wheel race that is held down Jefferson Street, between Jefferson and our High and Capitol. Very entertaining event. People who are willing to take a challenge and ride a big wheel down the hill, I think they've all enjoyed it too. But that's every June. We do a golf tournament every August.
Where do you hold that usually?
We usually hold that at Railwood.
Okay.
And then we've got our chili cook-off that we do every late October, November, and this year it'll be November 7th, and that's out on Ash Street in front of Prison Brews.
Very good. So it gives people a chance not only to learn more about the organization, because I'm sure there's information available, but also have some fun and help you financially, or support you financially.
That's right, and I think we've got enough variety of activities. There's something for everyone. You know, if you're not a golfer and you don't want to risk yourself driving down Jefferson Street, you can come out and have a bowl of chili.
Oh, or do all three.
That's right.
If you're interested. Although we've already talked about the fact that maybe we don't want Heather to have a golf club in her hand.
Or a big wheel.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even willing to tackle that challenge.
There you go. What would you say, and you can expand on this as much as you want, but what would you say to someone who may be watching, who has thoughts about being a big?
I would tell them to pick up that phone and call Big Brothers Big Sisters, or stop by our office, and we're located around the back of the Knowles YMCA Annex. That if you've given it some thought to do this, I mean, this is obviously a calling that you have, and it's making that first initial step, I think, is the biggest challenge, and once you do, you will not regret it. Your life will be forever changed by deciding to become a big.
And perhaps don't assume that it's not something that you would be afraid to do.
That's right.
But take a chance.
It is, and like Heather had mentioned, it's really being there is what we're looking for. So if you can commit to being consistent and showing up to see that child every week, you will be a great big.
Oh, that's wonderful. Ladies, thank you for continuing to do what you've been doing, and thank you for being a wonderful role model for at least 2 young people, probably more. And again, as Lee mentioned, if you have interest or questions about being a big, pick up the phone and call 634-3290, or as I say, you can learn a lot from their website. Visit www.mvbbbs.org. Take a chance, learn about it. You'll impress yourself, but more importantly, you'll help our young people. Look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for joining us. Good night and God bless.